Here's sort of the outline of the talk, that it was a little reorganization, not to the extent that ACI 318 did, but we'll look at that. We'll look at some of the major technical changes. There's three that I really want to highlight: on partially grouted shear walls, the moment magnifier method, and unit strength tables. It's a couple additions, and then many miscellaneous changes that we will look at. Here's the 2011 Masonry Code. And what I want to highlight is that Chapter 1 just became really long and kept growing and growing and growing and getting a bit unwieldy. So we did not blow up the whole code like ACI 318 did and start over, but we really just split up Chapter 1. And this was work done actually by consulting engineers that really were pushing for this. So the organization of the 2013 code is 5 parts actually. There's the general part, just some of the basics, general requirements in Chapter 1, notations and definitions, and a little bit on quality and construction in Chapter 3, excuse me. Part 2 is some design requirements. So Chapter 4 has general analysis and design. 2 major sections here. This is where your material properties are, like finding the modulus of elasticity, and also section properties related to net section and dealing with net mortar bedded area and so forth. Chapter 5 has basic requirements for a variety of structural elements that apply no matter what type of a design method we're using, whether allowable stress or strength design. So it has a section just on general elements. This is things like effective flange widths. There's a section on beams, a section on columns, a short section on pilasters in Chapter 5 there, and also a short section on corbels. Chapter 6 then is reinforcement, metal accessories, and anchor bolts. So there's really sort of 2 parts of that chapter. The first part is reinforcement, so a variety of things related to that, hooks, things like that. And the second part then anchor bolts. And then all of the seismic design requirements were put in Chapter 7. Part 3 is our engineer design methods, so allowable stress design and strength design. This is where you'll probably actually spend most of your time in the code. Each of these has, each of Chapter 8 and 9 has 3 parts. The first part, 8.1 and 9.1, is general requirements. 8.2 and 9.2 is unreinforced masonry design, and 8.3 and 9.3 is reinforced masonry design. Then there's pre-stressed masonry and autoclaved aerated concrete masonry, AAC. Part 4 is our prescriptive design methods. So we have veneer, we have glass unit masonry, and a new chapter on partition walls, which I'll spend a little bit of time on. And then we have appendices. So we actually added 2 appendices. One is empirical design, was moved from the main body of the code to an appendix. We have had the masonry infill appendix, and then we added an appendix on limit design of masonry. Again, we'll look a little bit at that, and then the references. So that's what we mean by reorganization. Really, it's more just a splitting up of Chapter 1. 3 major technical changes here: partially grouted shear walls, moment magnifier method, and unit strength tables. So I want to sort of look at those. First is actually perhaps something that actually takes a little bit away in terms of masonry design, but we felt it was needed for sort of safety of structures. So we have an allowable stress design that our allowable shear stress for an in-plane shear wall is the sum of the allowable stress for masonry plus the allowable stress for any reinforcement we have. Now it's being multiplied by a gamma sub G factor. Same in strength design, the nominal shear strength, in-plane shear wall is the sum of the nominal masonry strength plus the nominal strength from any reinforcement we have present times gamma sub G. This gamma sub G was added, and it was 0.75 for partially grouted shear walls. It's 1 otherwise. So we have this penalty, as it were, for partially grouted shear walls.